Okay, I think that's going. Well, hello everyone. I think I'll make a start. There may be more people arriving over the next few minutes, but we've got a great gang here. So thank you all for joining us this morning. My name is Sarah. I'm the Head of Business Support Programmes at Creative United. And we've organised this morning's event because, well, we are launching a new service, a new free programme to provide some business support for creative people and creative business owners and arts organisations who are in Wandsworth. So what we thought we'd do is we'd organise an event to bring together people who wanted to find out about that programme, have a little chat about what we know at the moment around particular challenges and opportunities with some other local creatives and business owners, and then later on I'll run through a few slides to give you a bit more information about the programme. I know some of you might have already completed an application, some of you might be thinking about it or be part way through an application. So this is just an opportunity to hear a bit more about the programme, and you can also ask me and my colleagues questions afterwards. We should be all wrapped up within the hour. So hopefully, you know, we won't keep you too long. So thanks again for joining us. And to start off proceedings, I'd like to welcome Councillor Allard Richards-Jones from Wandsworth Council, who's going to say a few words about what the council is up to in terms of the importance of the creative economy and supporting local businesses. Over to you, Councillor.
Well, thank you very much, Sarah, and good morning, everyone, and thanks for coming along today. I'm really excited about this programme, actually. I think this is the exact kind of thing that I love to see the council getting involved with. So my role at the council is I'm the cabinet member for economic development, skills and employment, which is a bit of a mouthful, but importantly, it means that I'm the council's lead for business and for startup and for entrepreneurial support. But that's my role by night, if you like. By day, I'm an intellectual property lawyer. And so the creative industries are something very close to my heart and something I know is really important to the UK economy, but also to just what makes life brilliant, really. When I was a little baby barrister, the first case I ever did was actually a design rights case about some topsy-turvy cake tins that had been designed by a small designer in southwest London. And then my second case was a counterfeit duvet knockoff set of Elsa from Frozen. So creativity in a different sense there. But the creative industries are immensely successful in the UK. I think it's actually one of the jewels in the crown of the UK economy. We know it's worth over £100 billion a year and employs more than 2 million people across the country. Before the pandemic, it was one of our strongest growing sectors in the economy. And alongside, I think, pharmaceuticals and high-tech engineering, it is one of the things that we do really well in the UK. And I know that energy and that creativity, although it's faced real and serious challenges during the pandemic, I know that it'll survive and thrive afterwards. So here in Wandsworth, we're incredibly proud to be home to some of the country's most exciting entrepreneurs. And to help Wandsworth businesses navigate through some of the challenges presented by COVID, the council is funding a series of bespoke support programs designed to help entrepreneurs to build resilience as they start, reset and grow their businesses during these uncertain times. So over the next few months, local businesses will have the opportunity to access a range of free online programs featuring tailored one-on-one advice sessions, virtual workshops and themed networking events. These programs highlight the importance of enterprise within the borough and gives both the startups and established businesses an opportunity to access the support they need to develop and adapt their businesses in these times. We've got a range of programs on, and they include Wandsworth Digital. So that's a program designed to help local businesses start selling online, and for those who've got a very minimum presence online, to help them grow and build that. There's Ready, Steady, Grow. That's our program for startups. And of course, Recreate 2021. We're also offering support to businesses to help them navigate Brexit. That includes one-on-one business device surgeries and webinars covering a range of topics. Looking ahead to today, the Recreate 2021 programme, which is being delivered in partnership with Creative United and Hive, has been designed to equip creative entrepreneurs in Wandsworth with the knowledge and skills they need to take their creative businesses to the next level. I think Wandsworth has such an amazing energy and sort of spirit of innovation about it. And I wasn't surprised, but at the same time was in awe to find that Wandsworth has an estimated 2,860 creative industry workspaces based in the borough. And as part of the arts, entertainment, recreation and other services sector, it's our fourth largest business sector in the borough. Pre-COVID, the sector had shown rapid growth, accounting for 1 in 6 jobs in London over the past decade. And this growth was expected to continue over the 2020s. This support programme, along with the Council's Smart Growth Plan and Arts and Culture Strategy for 2021 to 2031, seeks to ensure that we nurture and grow creative industries as part of the Council's long-term vision, delivering a design and technology quarter in Battersea and embedding creative enterprise zones into place-shaping master plans along the Riverside and the Wandle Delta. Before I hand over to our hosts today, I'd like to thank Creative United and Hive for hosting today's event. I also want to assure you that the Council is committed to Wandsworth remaining a great place to invest and grow your businesses. And I encourage you to face the future with realism, but also with optimism. I hope you find today's event really helpful and it leaves you inspired, fired, and motivated to join Recreate 2021. So to find out more about our business support from the Council, I hope you'll check out the Wandsworth Enterprise Hub, which is a great resource and it collates lots of resources about our support programs. There's a directory of funding and other resources you might need to grow and expand your business. That's wandsworthenterprisehub.com. And to complete the circle and to begin where I started, which is my other line of work, do protect your creations. The things you create and your intellectual property are really valuable. And if you're not up to speed on the basics of IP yet, and I wouldn't blame you, some of it can be absolutely labyrinth. If you go to gov.uk and search IP basics, there's a great primer there on copyright, design rights, trademarks, all the things you need to protect your investment and to protect the value in your company. And that's all from me. I'll hand you back to our hosts. Thanks very much.
There we go, unmute, that would help. Yeah, thank you so much for that. Really interesting stuff, and it's great that there's such a range of support in the borough and that the creative industries has been sort of singled out because it's important for economies and the culture and for growth. So the next part of this morning's online event, I'm delighted to be joined by some Wandsworth-based creatives and business owners, and I just wanted us to have a short chat about sort of their perspectives on where the kind of challenges and opportunities lie at the moment. So I'd like to invite them all just to quickly, and Alice has popped her hand.
Can I just say hello because I've got to rush off? I'm sorry to interrupt you, Sarah. I'm Alice. So if anyone's doing any applications and has any questions, I just wanted to introduce myself, say hello. I'm going to email the group with my email address for anyone that doesn't have it, and enjoy the rest of the meeting.
Thank
Over
you.
to you. Thank you.
See you later. Alice, she's our project manager for this, and you may have already been having chats with her about your application. So yes, our 3 panelists this morning, if you could just quickly say hello, introduce yourselves and where you're based or who you're working for, and then we'll have a little chat. So James, do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, my name's James Guerrero. I'm the CEO of World Heartbeat Music Academy, which is actually a charity operating in Wandsworth. we've been a very successful charity. We started with very few people, and we've grown to nearly 400 young people. We've recently secured a new premise in 9 Elms, so we're going to be moving as a cultural anchor. So I've had lots of dealings with Wandsworth over the last 2 years. And yeah, we're very excited, and thank you very much for allowing me to join today.
Thank you. Victor.
Yes, good morning. My name is Victor Castejon. You can call me Mr. Fox. I know it's going to be a bit easier. And we run a small production company in Earthfields. We've been running for 5 years now. And obviously, as for the rest of us, it's been quite a challenging last few months, but very much looking forward to discuss the opportunities in this in the future.
Great. And Sara.
Hello, I'm Sara O'Donnell and I'm Head of Arts and Culture at Wandsworth Council.
Great. So what I wanted to have a quick chat with you guys about, and hopefully it'll be of interest to the people who've joined us this morning. Firstly, 2020, that was a year. I wanted to know what you think have been the things that has thrown up, the particular challenges or the kind of calls for change that have been particularly impactful. And I'm thinking we've had the Black Lives Matter movement. We're obviously still in the throes of the COVID pandemic. There's been the transition out of the EU and its implications. So where do you think the particular hurdles or calls for change have come from that you've seen, and how that might impact in Wandsworth itself?
Well, if I start, for us, we're actually presently in a very, very small building. I mean, we're teaching in the bathrooms and we're teaching basically, in the corridors. And so COVID was, dealing with so many children in such a small space was a real spanner in the works. I think what's really happened is technology has been brought forward by maybe 3 or 4 years. And people were sitting on the idea of having technology, and yes, we kind of generally, know how to do it. I mean, look at this meetings, or this open meeting at the moment, and I think that was just brought forward very, very quickly. Certainly for World Heartbeat, we had a number of people who really understood technology. So within the week, we managed to put 580 odd classes online. But I think a lot of people struggled during that period. So for me, what I've taken out is technology actually works very, very well. We're probably a little bit fatigued now, but we could be fatigued with a number of reasons. But technology is very much here to stay. Businesses, you can see from online how well they've done. You can see that, the big businesses like Boohoo, is it Boohoo, and these kind of businesses who are buying Debenhams, they're buying them for the internet data rather than anything else. And so I think for any business, if they're not implementing technology now, they are going to be struggling in the future. So that's why. Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting how technology has presented a route through this and an opportunity, but has also caused, I guess, some dilemmas and thrown up where there's a need for some businesses to catch up. So Victor, in your line of work, does that ring true as well? Have you experienced other particular challenges from the past year?
Yeah, definitely, because I think the whole situation has put us in a position in which we have to rely on local and our local environment. And if by relying on them, we can reach a global audience, and that's I think that's been really interesting for us. Obviously, conditions for filming as a case studies was we reduced the whole scope for one man doing the whole job on each project. So it's a man on a backpack on a bicycle and as local as possible. So we keep it in a safe matter, and helping other businesses in reaching wider audiences, and they have to be local, and is the most reliable way if you want. We have realized that the technology, it's something you're going to have to embrace, even if you're super scared about it. And well, you realize, because we live in this around cameras all the time, well, you realize most of the time people need some help in terms of getting the most out of the camera that you have. And by that I mean the iPhone or the Android, which is obviously the most popular camera. So helping local to reach global, I think it's what is being driving us through the pandemic. Yes,
it's an interesting way of couching it, actually, thinking local to reach global. Yeah, I like that. So should
I copyright that, Councillor?
No comment.
Okay.
And so Sara, from the council perspective, I'm sure the last year has presented many challenges. In terms of the creative sector there in the borough, you know, what's been your view, your experience of how it's been particularly impactful there?
I mean, I'd say we've been bowled over by the creativity in the borough, the way the sector has responded to COVID, the different projects, the different ways of delivering has been amazing. What we are aware of is that, especially for cultural organisations, a lot of them have moved their content online and are delivering fantastic things. They can't make money out of it. It is really hard to monetize their content, which, you know, is excellent content, but people in the current climate are not willing to pay for it, or are not willing to pay the levels that they would pay for the live content. Also, we are aware that so many organisations, businesses have been relying on furlough, and what's going to happen when that scheme finishes. It does feel like the exact fallout is not known yet, and we're going to have to see what support is put in place for 2021, and actually on across London, on across UK basis. You know, the 1.57 billion was incredibly welcomed, but what happens in 2021? And a lot of the trusts and foundations brought forward funding this year, or this financial year, to support the sector. Does that mean there's going to be less funding available in the next few years when those organisations across the board need it? Because it's going to take a bit of time to actually start building up that income, and it does need to be grants rather than loans, because it's going to take a while to actually get back to point zero ground, you know, where we were in 2019. That said, you know, the creativity has been amazing. We've talked about various projects that are happening on a Wandsworth basis. I mean, we are also talking or developing projects across London. And if you haven't registered for Stride, which is a partnership between Wandsworth, Lambeth, Lewisham and Southwark, they've got a huge amount of different support for creative businesses, and in particular looking at supporting people from diverse ethnic backgrounds. That was already in the pipeline pre-2020, but yes, Black Lives Matter has shined a light on that we need to be much more proactive in supporting and actually looking at what additional, rather than access for all, what additional support is put in place to actually support people from all diverse backgrounds. And then also the long-term thinking. We've been trying to sort of get our ducks in order. So we've got the new draft local plan that's currently out for local consultation, and a new 10-year arts and culture strategy that's about to go out for public consultation. And both of them are looking at how we actually develop that long-term support and those creative enterprise zones clusters across the borough.
Great. So, I mean, it's great to hear that there are plans in place to sort of bolster and support the businesses that are there, but undoubtedly there has been a lot of disruption. There's likely to be disruption. It feels like things that were familiar and you could be sure of are just all very different and still in changing. So bearing that in mind, and we've touched upon some areas where there are opportunities, such as with technology, I wondered if each of you could just sort of finally say a few words on what you think that those kind of innovation points will be. What will be something that people can look to for growth, either in their businesses or where we can use creativity and creative businesses sort of in society? Are there opportunities there? From what has changed, what is there now? What are the big opportunities over the year ahead? Yeah, I don't know, Victor or James, have you got any thoughts on that?
Okay, let me take this one first. Yes, James, if you don't mind. I think it is an opportunity to get out there. It's not time to be shy. It's time to get out there and to create your online profile and polish it up, so you are ready for the so when things go back to normal, you have already a presence. We know it's time consuming, and the social media is asking to do the videos, it's asking to do photos, it's asking to do the IGTV is asking you to do so many things. But if you take this opportunity, or if we take this opportunity to polish it up, to create your profile as good as possible, and to try to reach your locals, I think it could be a golden time, because yes, there are a bit of a saturation in the market with every aspect of production from businesses, but there's also always someone who can show it in a different way, someone who is very charismatic on camera, and maybe they don't know, and maybe they have a point of view that hasn't been shown before. So get out there on your social, create this digital image of yourself, because that's going to help you in the future. And well, you have the tools, you have your mobile in your hands, and you can achieve brilliant things with that small piece of technology that we all have. So I think it's we should take it towards that way as much as possible. Yes.
Yeah, no, that's really good bits of advice, actually. James?
Yeah, I mean, my take is, I agree totally with Sarah. You know, we don't know the real impact, and it has been difficult to monetize digital content, especially with the YouTubes, that people feel it should be free now. There is that difficulty. I think certainly if the quality is there, there are people who will pay for it, but not in the same way. I kind of believe a little bit like James Lovelock's give the hypothesis that we're kind of self-regulating, and business is almost self-regulating. You have to stay very nimble, and you have to always be searching for ways of using things, and you have to keep your the conversation open with as many people as you can to listen what they're doing and how they're coping. For World Heartbeat, obviously our big project at the moment is the 9 Elms project, where we're going into a physical space. We have set that whole project based on pandemic scenarios, that we've tried to make it as digitally enhanced as possible. It's got the idea that if if there is another kind of pandemic or distancing, that we can operate efficiently. We've obviously had a lot of support from Wandsworth, and we have a great partnership there, and we still, you know, that's stayed open, and Wandsworth can do a lot for you, keeping, you know, there's a lot of resources there, you just need to tap into them. I would say you've got to increase your partnerships. You know, that's another thing. You have to, you know, you're stronger together than by yourself, and you've got to increase those partnerships. And it's not always for money. You know, it can be in other ways. And I think people put that the money is the most important. Actually, it's not. With partnerships, it's what you can do together to create a bigger audience. And, you know, certainly from the charitable sector, you might have some partnerships, but you might land yourself with a really big donor down the road. And it's through those partnerships that's come down the road, and that's been your lifeblood. So I think you have to look further down the field. You have to stay very nimble. Think of the Gear, you know, hypothesis of us, you know, like lungs, you know, breathing and contracting and breathing, and keep very inspirational and optimistic. You know, never. And where things are going to throw up, we're going in towards the technology, but we're very forward facing. We have to connect with the children. We have to connect with the young people. We have to connect with the audience. In a more governmental thing, you know, I get horrified when congestion charges all night, or, you know, when I'm thinking all these theatres are having, you know, already problems, and they're slapping another. I mean, I won't go to a theatre at night if I can't have a meal and I've got to get back at, you know, 2 o'clock in the morning on a taxi. I prefer to look at something different. And I'm someone who goes to a lot of creative events. So I hope these things on a central governmental, start to look at actually the creative industry in the UK is so imperative. And it engages so many people, as the councillor said. It's phenomenal how quickly it's growing. I mean, it's growing, you know, from 100 billion to 105 billion and it's the largest employer in the country. We need to be giving creative everything. And just to finally say this, if you go to London and there's no sculptures and there's no art, what is London? What is really London? It's like another Singapore. Sorry, Singapore, but you know, it's another pretty bland city. So. And people forget that, you know, so then you start to look at all the tourism who comes here, and you look at all the well-being and the health, and people have a, you know, a way to escape. That is because of the creative arts. And unfortunately, it's one of the things, like the stem cell subjects take over, and the creative just gets pushed down the road. And for me, I say, you know, do stay nimble, stay cheerful, and talk to as many people as you can, and you'll find your way.
Great.
So, but thank you.
We all feel empowered now. Thank you, James. Sara, have you got some final words from the sort of council's perspectives on the coming year?
I was actually going to follow. I was going to say very similar to James, but actually the importance of partnerships they've always been important, but this year even more so. And, you know, following on Victor's point, you know, local partnerships, so much of the activity that has happened this year has been local organizations and individuals coming along, and, you know, those creative organizations that have been open, it's actually supporting the local supply chain and working with local businesses to support them in making props, filming, all of that. It's been hyper local, and let's invest in that and continue to support that going forward.
Great. Well, thank you very much, guys, for that quick panel chat. Really interesting stuff there, and really, you know, it's a difficult time, but it's really it makes me feel really good that there are ways that we can come through this, and flagging up partnerships and keeping eyes on opportunity. It can be difficult, but bringing me around nicely to ways that can help. We have a programme. we have a short but sweet business support programme that we're running at the moment, or in the application stage, and I'm hoping that this will be one of the tools that could be useful for you in helping you plan into this new year and to help take your business and your creativity forward. So just before I jump onto those slides, I want to again thank James and Victor and Sara for that quick panel chat. That was really useful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very, very much.
So next I'm going to share my screen in a moment. Hopefully it'll work, and there'll be some slides. And I'll also be bringing in Nat Harrison, who is working with us on this programme as part of her company called Hive Collective. We're co-producing with her the sort of networking and skills event. So she'll be speaking a little bit in this next section. So I'm going to share my screen. So hopefully you can see that slide. If anyone just sort of wants to stick a thumb up just to let me know that's all. Yep, thank you. So yes, the Recreate 2021, it's free. It's business support for artists, makers, creative businesses, arts organisations, and it's being delivered by Creative United in partnership with Hive Collective and obviously last but not least Wandsworth Borough Council. So yeah, what is business support? I mean, it might be something that you think, is this something that's relevant if you are a creative or running a creative business? What is it in essence? Well, the kinds of business support that we specialise in, we do a lot of one-to-one business advice, or it could be business coaching, business mentoring. It could also be delivered in the form of events. So it could be networking events, it could be training workshops. So there's a range of sort of ways of delivering business support. And how can it help? So it can help by helping you create a business plan. I mean, that sounds like, why do I need a business plan? That sounds not for me. But a business plan is basically just a design for the future of what you do. And it can help you create a strategy to achieve that. It can provide guidance. It can provide objective feedback. You know, business advisors and coaches are really good listeners. It can pass on skills and knowledge that you can then take forward. And through all of those things, it boosts your own confidence. And through doing that, improves how you make those important decisions. So what is Recreate 2021? It's a free business support and networking programme for businesses and artists in Wandsworth. At the moment, we're in the application stage, but we'll be starting to deliver that support next month, so very soon. And we'll be wrapping up in June. So it's quite a short one, quite a short business support programme. So obviously it's going to be hopefully just the right kind of boost to get people underway this year. For the businesses that are selected, like the core cohort, there'll be 3 hours that you'll get of one-to-one advice with a specialist. Now, our specialists, we select them because they are from the creative world, the arts world, the cultural or heritage world. They get it, they understand it. They are successful business operators or professional coaches themselves. So you're in good hands. Actually, Nat, who will be talking in a minute, is one of our business advisors as well. So you might have some questions for her about how the one-to-one works. There will also be 3 networking and skills events. So these are actually for the 50 who we're supporting on the programme, but also anyone else in the borough who wants to join, because it's all about networking. It's all about making those partnerships. It's all about meeting others and learning and sharing skills. So they will be in March, April and June. Nat will tell you a little bit about those in a minute. So as I say, there'll be 50 that will receive that one-to-one advice. We would love there to be more, but at the moment we are taking on 50 for 3 hours of support. So you must make an application. So you can do that via our website. We'll get to the link soon. Some of you may have already done that. Some of you might be in the process of doing that. So those that we select, because you filled out an application form, we'll be able to understand the need you have for support, but importantly, how well we can meet that need. It could be that you come to us and actually we're not the best program for you, and we'll hopefully be able to signpost you somewhere. It could be that the things that you're dealing with right now, we think, yes, we can really help with that. So that's what we're looking for in the applications. So we've got, overall, Creative United has got over 40 in our network of business advisors who are from the creative and cultural worlds. We've selected a team. I think there's about 10 in our team for this particular program. So here's a little selection. As you can see, very friendly faces. They're all very good in their different ways. And they're able to help with things from fashion and lifestyle products to manufacturing, to fashion and brand, to social enterprise, to performing arts and visual arts. So we cover hopefully all bases. So at this point, Nat, shall I hand over to you so you can say a little bit more about those events that you're organising?
Yeah. Hi everyone. As Sarah said, I'm Nat Harrison from Hive Collective. Hive Collective is a business network based up in the Waltham Forest area of London, but we produce events for Creative United and others all over the country. We're delighted we're going to be bringing 3 events to you this time, and in line with the council's reset, growth, so start, reset and growth motto, we are looking at refocus, revitalise and relaunch. So those 3 events will be basically about 6 weeks apart. You will it will be online via Zoom, and hopefully we'll have all 50 of the people on the programme coming to them. And it's an opportunity really for you to learn skills, to get information and also network. So the events are split into 2 separate sections. The first section will be a speaker section where myself and one of the other business advisors is just going to be having a chat basically about a topic. The first topic in March will be refocus and resilience, so surviving the COVID period. We're going to be talking about basically clarity on where your business is going, how to build a resilient mindset, and how to pivot your business or develop innovative thinking. In April, we'll be talking about revitalising your business, so boosting your business either through funding or financing or collaborations, or just any way of injecting business energy back into your business so that you know where you're going, you've got the energy back, or you've got the funds there to do something. And I'm going to be talking with a lady called Olga, who Sarah just mentioned is one of the business advisors, and we'll be helping you to either ways in which you can access funding, how to write funding bids, where financing is available at the moment because it is more limited. And then in June, we'll be talking about relaunching your business. So as one of the previous speakers says, getting out there, using PR, social media and collaborations in order for you to grow your customer base or your audiences. And we'll be talking about partnerships and collaborations. I think James mentioned it earlier. So partnerships, collaborations are a big part of Hive. We encourage people to do skill swaps when money's tight, and it's also a great way of building very strong relationships that then can go on to do great things in the future. So they're the topics for the events. Across those events, we will be talking about collaboration constantly, and we'll be always encouraging you to take action. So taking 3 actions from each of those events to take back into your business for that month. The second part of the event is called the focus seat. This is really where we get you guys talking to each other and understanding what each other's businesses does. And we'll be splitting into smaller groups and giving you the opportunity to have 5 minutes in the focus seat where you can ask for some support or advice from people in the group. Maybe do some market research or just talk about a topic that you don't know very much about that you'd like some information. We run those topics currently in Waltham Forest every month, and they're very popular. We always sell out, and people find that you know, it's really useful to have peers around who can give you information without having to sort of go down long-winded training routes or Google things. So we're looking forward to running those as well. As Sarah mentioned, I'm also I'm a business coach by trade, so I'm one of the advisors on the programme as well. One thing myself and the other business advisors who'll be doing the events were thinking was you could potentially use the topics of the events to step off into your one-to-ones, and therefore having like a one-to-one once a month after the events would be a great thing to do, and you can explore those subjects more deeply and how they interact with your business. That said, when I work with people in one-to-ones, I completely leave it up to my client what they want to discuss and what they want to achieve, and it's very much about helping you to utilize that time as much as possible on what's right for your business and what can help you grow or overcome your barriers faster. So okay, Sarah?
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. So let's see. I think this is the final slide. So if all this sounds like something that you're interested in, there is a quick and simple, hopefully it's quick and simple, online application form. So if you go to our website, creativeunited.org.uk, there's a section there called Current Programmes, and you'll see the Recreate logo. Click through there, there's a bit more information, and then you can also start your application form. In the chat, you'll also see that Alice left her email address. So also she can help you if you're making your application at the moment. You can drop her a line about that. So yeah, we want to make sure that you are able to access that and fill that in and it all makes sense. So someone on the group chat asked me what the criteria are to get on the programme. So the very sort of basic eligibility, I guess, if you like, is you are based in Wandsworth. Your business is based in Wandsworth. You are active in Wandsworth. That's the key thing. You are operating in a creative arts or cultural sector. So it could be fashion, it could be music, it could be design, it could be digital. It could be more kind of heritage based. I mean, it's quite a broad church, but in essence there is a creative product or service, or you are supporting people who are creative. So yeah, so if you've got any thoughts on that, if you're not sure, again, drop Alice a line and she can have a chat to you about that. And as I said earlier, in terms of then getting onto the programme, we can only take 50. Already we can see from the applications coming in that there are many people that would really benefit from this support. So hopefully this is just the start, and we can only take 50. So we'll be looking to see which one from the sort of challenges and the need for support that you describe in the application, where can we best help with this kind of 3 hours of one-to-one support. And if we can't help, we'll signpost somewhere else. But the first thing to do is just take a look at the application form and fill it in, talk to us if you're not sure, drop Alice a line. Yeah, and hopefully we'll take it from there. I'm just going to stop my share now, hopefully, and bring you all back. So I think the last day you can complete an application is the end of this month. The 28th, I think, is the end of the month. So we've got between now and then to complete your application and submit it. Even if you submit it and you think, oh cripes, I forgot something, that's fine. You can email Alice and you can send it on to us separately, and then we can still consider it. You know, it's not the complete end of line if you submit it and then you think of something else. So do just always let us know. So just in the final few minutes, has anyone got any particular questions about the programme, maybe about the events or how one-to-one might work? If you want to pop your hand up, I'll try and see if there's any hands going up. Okay, here's a hand. All right, so we've got Sophie with her hand up. Yeah, go ahead. I think you're on mute at the moment.
Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Okay, it's a lot going on in my head. I'm a creative person. I've lived in Wandsworth since the 90s and I've worked in creative fields. I've had a business. I changed that and became freelance, how you describe self-employed, up until pre-COVID. So I was actually doing pretty well with it. And then my business is, I'm a visual artist and I work with the public. So obviously that's been pretty difficult. Although, you know, I've been listening to your experts saying about readjusting and all of that, and that's all fine. What I'm confused about is that at the moment I want to continue what I'm doing because I work in community and I work with people that I keep seeing mentioned, you know, minority groups, disabled people, people with learning disabilities, etc., etc. I keep hearing about funding and businesses, okay? And I just really confused about where to go, because I know I'm an artist and I've got the potential to make money. I'm an entrepreneur. I cannot right now because I'm not allowed to go out and meet people. And another part of my business is producing artworks in locations, venues. Well, again, it's proving really difficult right now. So I'm sure I'm not the only artist in this situation. I have been on universal credit since the summer. And I heard a man talking about keep your spirits up, da, 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 da. Yes, okay, that's all fine. But I just feel like every time I talk about this topic, it's like your business, you need to set up a business account, da, 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 da. That to me doesn't say funding. Funding says allowing you to carry on with your activity and for it to be funded. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of like confusion in this area, and I just wondered if you could throw some light on it for me and hopefully anyone else that this is relevant to.
Yeah, and I totally hear you and I get it. And it's, I think where, well, firstly, where our programme could help is if you are talking one-to-one with someone who can give you some real practical routes forward in terms of funding, because there are funding pots available. It's not a quick fix, you know, it can be difficult to get hold of that funding, but there are routes available. So hopefully we can untangle some of that for you. And I totally hear what you're saying. It's finding something that feels right for you, I think, was where the advice can really help, because there isn't a one size fits all. So I would say if you apply to this programme, we can help you with advice on funding and finance and making those plans that suit you and your type of work. And also in terms of where there are networking events, being able to have this kind of conversation with others, and that might just be for you personally a lift, but also hearing other sort of tips and tactics that others are using could, you know, be useful for you as well. But I totally hear what you're saying, and it's nothing easy about this going forward. Nat, did you have any thoughts on where one-to-one could be useful with that kind of conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I would say in your application form, really in the any other comments, do specify if there's an area you really just want to focus on for the programme, and then Alice will pair you with a business advisor who's a specialist in that field. And you know, as I said, the sessions, the one-to-one sessions are yours. So if you want to work on, you know, just finding funding or getting skills to exist in that way, because I think there's an art to living as a funded organisation, then you can just spend those 3 sessions completely on that. And I think also what tends to happen with the focus seat is when we've got a topic at an event, such as the second one, talking about boosting your business through funding and financing, what tends to happen is when we jump into the focus seat, you know, everyone's brains are focusing on that. So we will probably have a discussion around that. And Olga will be joining one of the groups in order to support that with any questions as well. So the business advisors will be going into those focus seat sessions, so you can have direct conversation with them. And also at our events we leave lots of times for Q&A. You know, there'll be a big 10-15 minute slot for you to ask the business advisors their opinion on this too.
Yeah. So Sara, did you want to jump in, and then I'll go to Andrew, because I know you've had your hand up as well, but did you have a comment on this, Sara?
I did, yeah. So I just wanted to, firstly say, I don't know if you've checked or registered for the council's website. So we have, on the arts section, there actually is a section on current funding opportunities for artists and arts organisations specifically. So if you go onto the council's website and go under the arts section, it's arts funding for COVID. And also if you join our mailing list, so we also send out any funding opportunities that come out specifically for artists. And we also have the Wandsworth Grant Fund. So we have been funding a range of artists to do different projects, as and when, you know, some have been online, but some have been sort of developing programs during lockdown. So have a look at that and see whether or not any of those fundings would be relevant to you. And of course the Arts Council. I don't know if you've been.
Yeah, that's the only road I've been trying, but it's so much, and again, it's just the confusion of what exactly are you looking for, because obviously I want to tailor the application to show, and that's what I'm trying to understand about today as well.
So again, we've been offering a support service to local people and organisations to review Arts Council applications and give feedback.
Great, absolutely brilliant. I mean, this is so good, because honestly, you need to speak to the people at the Universal Credit, because they have got no idea. The job centre lady, they don't know. And I've been asking them for weeks about this since I found out about grant applications, and they don't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So I didn't know the council did funding, but I thank you very much. I'll definitely listen.
Yeah. And if you email arts@wandsworth.gov.uk, then Annika can get in touch and talk through if you've done a funding application or started to draft some.
Yeah.
And talk.
I've got a business plan. I've got a proposal written out. Everything. It's all the information is there. I just don't know who to go to with it.
Well, I think this is a great example about where just coming together and posing a question to a virtual room can actually be really useful, as well as hopefully that any one-to-one advice can help you get into the nitty-gritty of those details. So I've got one more hand up. I'll probably be wrapping up soon after this, because I'm sure we've all got things we need to go and be busy doing. But I know, Andrew, you've had your hand up for a little while here.
Yeah, hi, I'm a photographer and a self-publisher, and have lived in Putney 25 years. Just some observations. I mean, if just by the reaction to this event and the people who come aboard, 50 doesn't seem like enough spaces you've got on this programme. I know it costs the council money to do, but you know, there's clearly a need for this stuff. You need to rather than freezing council tax, which is fantastic, because I imagine a lot of councils are going to be putting it up, maybe you should be feeding a little bit of money into creating 150 places for things like this, if it's so important to the borough's business sector. That's just a comment. I placed a comment in the chat. As businesses, we're not all in the same place. So we may already have an idea of where we think we need to be going. So is there a way in which we can access, you know, for instance, I'm very interested in the June event, funnily enough, on the social media stuff, because I do need some help with that. But June, I mean, that's months away. You know, I need to be getting on with it now. So
well, yes.
So is there a way in which that can happen? And lastly, I'll let you come back in with some. This is probably directed at Councillor Alid. I applied to the Kickstarter scheme, which I think you may know something of, or if people don't, it's a government-funded arrangement where you can employ a 16 to 24-year-old who's on universal credit. And I thought I was probably in a fantastic place to be able to offer, because I'm a one-man band, but I have loads of stuff that I know I want to do. I just don't have the wherewithal and stuff. So I just thought this would be a fantastic way of doing it. I've applied as an individual, you can as a company, and they've turned me down. And I'm not the greatest writer. I take a decent photograph. So it may be that I didn't do myself many favors in the application. I just explained it as I saw it, but they have turned me down. I just wondered whether there's any help that the council can give me, because they've come back and said we can't give you feedback, but this scheme, it could be really good for getting, you know, these types of people back into work, or into work at all, you know. So that's just, I'll just post that.
No, they're really good and specific things, and I'll jump in. So you're right. So the social media event isn't till June, but we appreciate people need help with that all the time. So I think as part of, if you were to be on the programme, as part of the specific things that you could have in your kind of action plan, if you like, is you need to talk to an advisor about how you market yourself. And that could be something you start to work on in those one-to-one sessions, and they would probably also be able to point out where there are other sources of courses or support also out there that's available right now. I know the British Library has stuff going on all the time about business support and IP, and they might have things on social, and there's somewhere called the Media Trust that run programs on social media and all of that type of stuff. So, and there's the Arts Marketing Association that can help with digital skills. So there are other things that we could be suggesting at the same time. So I'd say that. And again, the specific about looking to build capacity by taking on an intern. Again, with a business advisor, they can help you look through maybe what it was that you wrote down before, where you can strengthen that proposition potentially to show the benefits of you taking on an intern, and where you might need to put in place resources and infrastructure first before bringing in an intern. There may be things like that you can talk through before that. So I'd say there are definitely ways that we could help assist, and it's good to have sort of specific goals like that we may be able to come in and help you with. And I don't know, on the question of getting in an intern, is that something, Sara, that the council has any kind of advice or guidance on?
Almost certainly, but I can't tell you what it is, but we can get back to you on that if there's a mailing list from everyone on this call. Yeah. So again, anything like that, if you want to drop it in a note to Alice and say that it's something that we were going to look into and get back to you, or we can forward it on to the council, we'll be happy to do that. Yeah, and also on Kickstarter, I know that's something we've been looking at across the council. Yeah, absolutely. So I've got one more hand that's gone up. So I think this will be my last question, and then we'll wrap up. So hi, Abiola. Hi, did you want to have a question for us?
Yeah, hi, good morning. just listening to what everyone's saying has been amazing, and I think it's useful for all of us. And again, I have so many questions. Sometimes I don't know where to start, but one thing is, like, this journey can be really lonely sometimes, and you know, it's all great, like, you know, you can get this information here and there, but you know what, I actually came across, this is something that I've been looking for so long, and I actually came across this purely by chance, by accident. So when you're in that creative field, in as much as you do so much research, like, how do you even know about these, you know, these funds and these grants and schemes like what you're doing with Create 2021? It's absolutely amazing, but it's like, if you don't, and it might seem stupid what I'm saying, but if you don't know about it, like, how do you even, where do you even start? I mean, I've lived in Wandsworth all my life, well, yeah, all my life, you know, and I'm in the creative field, you know, I've done a lot of stuff within the fashion industry. I teach, I do so many things. But again, when COVID came, I'm a freelancer as well. Everything just went, and I've just been left on my own. Sometimes I don't know who to turn to. Universal Credit phoned me a couple of weeks ago and was actually having a go at me, telling me that I should not just be focusing on my business. I mean, how dare you? You know, this is something that I've wanted to do for so long. And then when you hear about schemes like this, it sort of like puts it in place. But to be honest with you, I'm just really frustrated, you know. And the other thing is, like, if one doesn't get onto this scheme, because as Andrew rightly said, there's only places for 50 people, okay, and what happens to the rest of us that, you know, that we're interested? And there could be some really good like mentoring schemes and things like that outside of, you know, the 50 people that you're allocating to. So what do we do, you know, or where do we go from there? Hopefully, you know, we can all get on, but if we can't, because it's an amazing opportunity and I would like to be part of it, so there's other people. However, looking outside of that, you know, what happens after that? Because then you're just left back to square one, you know?
Yeah, I totally see your point, and it's difficult, isn't it, when you don't know what it is that you don't know, and you know that you need help and support, but you're not quite sure how that's articulated or how that's described or where you need to begin to go to find that, and something that speaks to you as a creative business owner or a creative freelancer. But I think I'm so pleased you found the programme. That's great. And so the good thing about this programme is, yes, we can only support a particular number with the one-to-one, but the networking and skills events are open to everyone, whether you're receiving the one-to-one support or not. So you can still join and get the benefit of those. And through those, hopefully there'll be other doorways that you discover where other people have been supported in different programs. And I think we've heard today there are other programs through Wandsworth, and there are other programs that are run in London. So there are places to go. So I hope that this will be a starting point to maybe recognizing where those things are. And with any kind of program that we run, you know, we run it, and then we also ask participants to tell us how it worked for them, so we can try and measure the outcomes of this program. And if we can see that it's really worked and it's really made a difference, that gives us the evidence to then try and do another one. You know, so once we've done one, we can hopefully come back and say this worked, and we want to do it again. So you know, we wish we could have more people to begin with, but yeah, so it's something, and you know, I'm glad you found us, and hopefully it'll be you know, opening some doorways to other options as well as this one. So I'm gonna wrap up, but I want to thank everyone for joining us today. I know some of you have been sending questions as well through the chat. We're going to save the chat room so we can come back to those questions if we didn't cover it. As I said earlier, you can always email Alice. She's just going to be getting tons of emails now. She's going to thank me for this. Email Alice if you've got any other questions about the application form or the programme, and we'll do our best to get back to those. Thank you to the guests that joined us this morning. Really thank you for giving up your time today. And hopefully we'll see you all again very soon. All right, have a good day, everyone. Bye-bye.